Welcome, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. What do we have going through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First card we're coming through with today. I like it. We've got our Ace of Cups. Can I please have the second card, please? Two cards coming out for our second card. Wow. Okay. Yep. This is not surprising. We've got the Ace of Cups in our first placement with the combination of the Knight of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal. Let's talk a little bit about this energy. So, one of the things that we've been experiencing, as we've talked about right now, is I keep on describing this as the traffic jam. Okay, the traffic jam. We've got a traffic jam on the dividing line between Pisces and Aries right now. That is the combination of Neptune, Venus, and Mercury all jammed up together. Now, what are we seeing? And at the same time, we are experiencing a partial solar eclipse today. This is going to be a lot of energy. I keep on hearing release and new beginnings, right? Working on the context, letting the old self go, inhabiting the new self. It's not easy, right? And I keep on seeing, and this is what's kind of beautiful here, because with a lot of this energy that we're identifying with Neptune transiting out of Pisces into Aries, there's a lot of work that occurs in the realm of navigating or feeling emotionality. Now, what have we spoken about with one of the things that's been coming through a lot is the fact that, like, when Neptune moves, the world cries. Why do we feel like that sometimes? Because Neptune is about the big feelings. Neptune is about memory. Neptune is about the energy that we carry with ourselves, the things that we hold dear, the things that we hold energetically sacred. And one of the things that we recognize and identify in a lot of that work, and I keep on seeing it's very sentimental. Okay, it's very sentimental energy. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's potentially a lot of work that's happening right now in the space of honoring feelings. But remembering, and this is the important part, honoring feelings is not just feeling anything that you feel. Honoring feelings is when we are able to do something with emotional, like that feels like it feels like, I keep on seeing, creating something that feels like it has something of meaning to us. And what's interesting about it is it really does. I want to know where Capricorn is right now. And I'm not sure why, because it does feel a lot like Capricorn energy. And the reason, and I need to stress this because, and one of the, oh, no wonder the moon's in Capricorn. I think the moon's in Capricorn right now. But one of the things we have to recognize and identify, oh, no, it's in Aries. Apologies. But I want to figure out where some of this Capricorn energy is. And I'm going to be doing some work on this once we come out of this podcast, because I have to stress this. There's something about creating something. I always like to point this out. Like, Capricorn energy often comes through to me as relic energy. Why does Capricorn come through as relic energy? Because, you know, when we look at the sign of Capricorn, it's literally like a goat and a fish that are stuck together, right? And so when we identify that work, and this is why we talk about a lot of the path work of Capricorn, is taking the mundane and making it magical, right? What is the secret ingredient between taking the mundane and making it magical? It has a lot to do with sentiment, with being able to convey the nuance of memory into something, right? So there's something really beautiful here because, and this is why I was describing a lot of the partnerships that have been forming recently as chariot energy, because when we are in that space, when we come into the path work of personal transformation, we often realize that it's not about finding new parts of ourselves, but they're making connections, right? Making connections within the self. It's like the transformation of being able to find something within the self that locks in with another. So I feel like a lot of this work that we're potentially experiencing right now in this like in this partial solar eclipse, as we enter Aries season, is all about forging new energetic connections and figuring out what fits. Now, that's messy, right? That's a messy process, right? There's a lot of that when we're working on that, even internally or externally. It feels very clumsy because it's a lot of trial and error, right? It's a lot of that. And again, this is why a lot of the conversations that we were having leading up to a lot of the work that we're experiencing today had to do with the fact that when we are trying to do something new, we have to be willing and ready to look a little silly in the process. If you remember our last reading, we were talking a lot about the feeling of like fledgling energy, or working in that space of identifying that when we're the ability of being clumsy that identifies someone trying to do something differently, right? Versus the energetic clumsy, versus working through experiences of perfection. And what I like about this is it's saying to me that for a lot of energy right now, this is healing from the need to be perfect. Because when we are trying to aim to be perfect, we often are not in a space that we can learn anything because we're so worried about being perfect that we can't come into the space of being a student, right? You can't, if you're worried about being perfect, you're often in a space that you can't learn anything because you cannot enter something being energetically perfect. So something about healing perfection right now, I keep on seeing, is really important. Here comes the third card already out. Something that's very important that's happening right now across all of the frequencies. Now, for a lot of the energy and separation, I can see something that feels equal parts sentimental, but reaffirming, right? Because I keep on hearing that this is the energy that can tell the difference between sentiment and making sense, right? And why do I keep on hearing the difference between sentimental and making sense? Because for a lot of the energy and separation, and I told you sometimes, often, and I'm not typically the type who talks like this, but when Neptune moves, it can sometimes feel very much like retrograde energy, something from the past coming back towards us physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And we're also in retrograde season. So there could be a lot of vibes right now, especially for energy and separation, having to do with energy from the past returning in some fashion. But the ability, and I keep on seeing the refinement point that's happening for a lot of the energy and separation, is not just feeling or hanging upon the sentiment of the past, but understanding if that sentiment makes sense, right? Understanding if there's something that is being brought forth in the realm of sentiment that allows something to move forward. Welcome to that chariot energy. Because, and here's the thing about it. When someone comes back to us from the past and all they're doing is hanging upon sentiment, all they're basically saying is they miss the past. And for some of the energy and separation, if you're doing work on healing from a past, and in that moment, someone comes back and is sentimental on something that you've been actively recovering from, what do we say? The eyes of clarity are sometimes found moving forward, not backward. So this is the energy that can tell the difference between energetic energy that's coming towards them that is talking about the past in a way that feels like it's productive, trying to learn from it, versus energy that's holding on to the past, and they're holding on to the past is exactly why something can't move forward in a positive direction. So there's a lot of clarification there. There's a lot of healing that's happening in that context, but it's bittersweet, right? It's bittersweet. It's not easy, but it's clear. It's clarifying. And the one thing I'm identifying here is the one word that's coming through across all of the frequencies right now is not pretty, right? Not pretty, because not pretty is like when we see something from a place of reality, we often see something that's not pretty, but we know it to be true. While for a lot of the energy right now, the nice thing I like about these energies that are forging new connections right now is this is the energy that says they're healing from perfection. This is potentially even energetic connections that are talking about or articulating the fact that they had to let go of a connection because someone was always giving a reason why they couldn't move forward because something wasn't perfect. And what are these energies saying to one another as they do so? When someone says they can't move forward because something is perfect, that day will never come. Why? What do we say here? Because perfect, say it with me, everyone, perfect is a cardinal direction. It's not a place. It's not a space that you can inhabit. It's something you strive for. It's not something you find. So this is the energy that's almost looking back upon something and saying, yeah, the reason the articulation point was either feeling imperfect, someone that was kind of always articulating that the reason they couldn't come towards them was because something wasn't perfect yet. Remembering that perfect is not really a place, right? Someone becoming self-aware of that and understanding that there's always something that you can find, that Zeno's paradox that says that there's always a way that you could perfect something. So that means that saying that the reason you can't move forward because something's not perfect isn't real. And this is the energy that says make no mistake. We've already got the fourth card out. Perfection is not something they seek. Perfection is something they are trying to make, right? Well, for the energy coming into divine union, this is, I got to check this out. I'm not sure why. This energy is really heavy in Scorpio right now. You know, like, and I think that there's something really, I keep on hearing there's something really cathartic and healing that's happening right now for energy deeper coming into divine union. Because I keep on hearing it's not pretty anymore. There's something about talking to each other about hard things. There's something about articulating upon those journeys. And here's the thing, a journey of healing the self isn't usually talking about how perfect you are. It's talking about how much you've messed up in the past. You know, it's talking about the journey of understanding that we sometimes wince upon. But this is why it feels like this is energy that's like reaching some deeper level of commitment, because this is the energy that says to one another, I don't care about you because you're perfect. I care about you because your own ability to articulate and acknowledge what you're working on is your greatest gift, right? Much like the energy in separation. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, I keep on seeing that these are energies that are deep. I keep on getting the message that these are energies that are deep in Scorpio, Taurus, Aries, which is working through the ability to navigate change fluidly, navigating change without needing rest, like being adaptable, like transforming in the process. Like there's a lot of that, like it's like it says to me like there's something really interesting about that's occurring there. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today. One of the cards already flew out. The cards are flying out of the deck today. I'm not surprised. It's an eclipse energy. We've got our 3 of Pentacles in its reversal, right? There's an adaptability here that is really beautiful. There's something about that adaptability point that I think is really valuable and important. And I have to stress this. This is like, I keep on hearing, and this is what's interesting, for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, I'm hearing the words happening right now across all of the frequencies, give it a rest. Why is the energy saying give it a rest? Because this has to do with hearing energy dwelling on things, right? What happens, like, and that's all we're seeing here, because what happens when one dwells on something? When one dwells on something, the difference, I keep on seeing the clarity that's happening right now during this energetic cycle is the difference between dwelling and doing, right? The difference between harboring and moving, right? Like when we dwell on something, when we can't let go of something, we block ourselves. Like we get stagnant, right? Like, and so that's why I keep on hearing what's interesting about this is the reason I keep on hearing, and that has to do with all the energy in Aries with, like, again, coming into some of that Taurus energy behind it, giving it a rest is saying that this is energy that is reaching an impasse point, particularly in circumstances or situations where someone is holding on to something that does not feel important, significant, or necessary, right? Because you like that, and that has a lot to do with the fact that there's so much of this energy in Aries, right? And here's the thing with Aries energy. Aries only holds on, Aries and Gemini, and Jupiter's also in Gemini. You have to understand this. Aries and Gemini hold on to emotions when they're important, and they try to channel them into what feels like decisive action, right? Like the lessons that we often get with Aries and Gemini is like adaptability is key. It's not about finding the perfect situation. It's about making the best of the situation surrounding the self. So I can see right now that if these are circumstances or scenarios where another person is dwelling on something or articulating from a place that feels like it's just like, again, a woe is me, right? The ability to try to project forwards or to over or correct inwards. This is the energy that almost says like they can see that disparity, that moment or that modality of articulating when you're in this is why often when we're healing, we let go of the idea of blame, because when you blame, right? When you try to project outwards, you're saying it's not on me to correct. When you overcorrect and say that you're the worst, you're saying I can't change. That's why the energy says blame free, give it a rest, because they're saying that when you give it a rest, it says don't look at dwelling on something. What feels like it's movable, what feels like it can be changeable. Welcome to Neptune transiting out of Pisces and into Aries, right? This is happening right now. This is why for a lot of the energy coming into divine union, this may be feeling very clearing, because this is the energy almost like shedding those layers to one another, right? There's almost like an act of disrobing I see that's happening for energy coming into divine union, where they're showing each other not just what's pretty, but the ugly parts of the self. And this is the energy that says, I'm hideous. And what does someone say in the space of another person describing something that they find hideous? This is the energy that says you're self-aware. One cannot be hideous if one is self-aware. The acknowledgement of something that you feel is ugly, that you're working to change, is how it becomes beautified, because it's in the moment of being able to acknowledge something that you're trying to do better, like this energy saying you are in the middle of the act of transformation. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I just keep on seeing that a lot of the energy right now in separation, there's I keep on hearing a lot of letting go and a lot of embracing right now. There's something really profound and beautiful I'm seeing that's happening for some energy in separation. And some of that feeling of giving it a rest, if you will. This is the energy that I hear them saying they're giving it a rest, because this is the energy that says that there's something that's happening right now. The gift of this retrograde is effectively being able to identify the difference between what feels like one is dwelling versus what feels like one is expanding, right? What feels like it is energetically productive versus what feels like something that is compelling, right? And so I keep on seeing that this is the energy, and like this is a bit of the gift of all of this Aries energy, which is a lot of the energy in separation, being able to tell the difference between someone doing something in a way that has a lot of intention behind it and kind of being a little clumsy in the process, versus someone always trying to find an excuse, or someone always trying to find a reason, right? There's a lot of that work that's occurring there. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Cups, our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal, and our Knight of Cups in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Pentacles in its upright. So there's something really, I think there's something incredibly beautiful to be said. I'm going to say, there's something there's really beautiful that can occur often when we're experiencing these eclipse cycles that can feel like breakthrough points, right? And a lot of those breakthrough points that we often experience are best articulated by means of making connections to things that feel like they're supportive to the self. And I really like this combination of cards that we're seeing here with the Ace of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles in its reversal, and our Knight of Cups, because there's a conversation there as it relates to healthy connections and best of intentions, right? Because, you know, let's talk a little bit about the reason that so much of this energy feels like it's Chariot energy. Because when we recognize, when we're doing something that's hard, right? And another comes in to try to lend a hand, if you will. It's a lot of that message that says there's nothing we can't, like, and this is how Aries and Gemini agree. This is why Aries and Gemini, remember a few weeks ago we were saying Aries and Gemini agree in the space that go find an Aries and Gemini and go ask them if they failed at anything, and they will say no, because they'll say they don't believe in failure. Like, Aries and Gemini literally do not believe that failure exists, right? Aries and Gemini identify things not by the space of the fact that they exist. Aries and Gemini believe firmly, much like Leos believe a hug can fix everything. Aries and Gemini agree in the space of feeling firmly that anything is possible. It just matters how much time and how much force you have to apply to a circumstance or situation. And this is why it feels like there's a lot of those Chariot messages that are coming through, because, and this is where I'd be curious about where Libra's coming in right now, because there's something about Aries and Gemini that are looking about balance, right? It's about maintaining a healthy balance, not in terms of what one can do, but what feels like it creates balance. Healthy exchange of energy. So I keep on seeing there may be a lot of conversations that are reaching points of productivity as it relates to talking towards healthy energetic exchange, right? And potentially a lot of energetic connections that are coming to a conclusion point, and someone saying, it's like someone saying, this is possible for us to fix, and another person saying it's not a question as to whether it's possible to fix. It's about how much effort it takes to maintain it. Like it's not about fixing it. It's about the amount of effort it takes to fix something, which makes one like again, that's what alignment is about. We talk about healthy alignment here in terms of not what feels like it's easy, right? But what feels like it nourishes instead of creates a space of lack. So I keep on seeing that that's very important right now for a lot of the energy and separation. While for energy right now in coming into divine union, this is why I keep on hearing the energy saying to one another, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because this is the energy that in a moment that they're seeing something that they couldn't see about themselves before and articulating upon it and still being loved, still being held in that context. This is the energy that says to one another, again, I can hear them singing this. It's funny, I said singing instead of saying. Love does not require perfection. It's where love is in the space that you define where you're putting the work, right? Love is in the definition of what you're trying to work on with the self. And this is the energy that says, I love you, that those flaws become facets because they're not flaws. The act of becoming is the gift that we give to each other. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, this is why I keep on hearing a little bit of this energy. I want to say, I feel like there's something that's occurring right now for energy deep within divine union and relationality to something potentially testing or trying their patience, because I'm seeing a lot of this Taurus or Aries stuff, which has to do with having to navigate something that almost feeling like a bit of exhaustion and someone saying, give it a rest. And why is the energy saying, give it a rest? Because if these are circumstances or situations where another is dwelling on something and it doesn't feel productive or healthy or cathartic, it's almost like the observational point that sometimes I feel like there's energy looking at something and saying someone's dwelling on something, not because it's important, but because they're in a space of being unhealed, right? And this is why a lot of the energy deep within divine union works in the context of trying to feel energetically productive, because it's in the moment or context of understanding that the things that we hold on to that aren't healthy for us make us bitter, right? And that's why I keep on hearing that the energy, like I keep on hearing like the energy deep within divine union being in like a bitter free zone, because this is the energy that says that that ability of dwelling in something, it's not just the fact that those within divine union see that, but they're like, it's not healthy. They don't like to support it. Like it's the energy being like, it's not healthy. It's like that's why I see the energy like giving distance to things that are bitter, because they're like, I don't want to condone it if I see the fact that it's energetically hurting another. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Pentacles, our Knight of Cups, and our Nine of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification. Love it. I am very happy about that card there today. We've got our Tower in its reversal. We don't fear the Tower here. So we understand, like, you know, and I keep on hearing it's deconstructing. The ability to deconstruct is like Tower card in its reversal, right? Because I want to stress this. You know, and we talked a lot about this. These eclipse cycles, they're no joke. There's a lot. It's like it brings up a rough patch, right? A lot of that shadow work coming to the surface. A lot of those doubts and those fears that rise up within us. But here's what I keep on hearing: like the energy right now across all the fear frequencies is doing the healthy work in deconstructing their fear. Why is the energy across all the frequencies? And this is the gift of some of this solar eclipse. When we deconstruct our fear, that's what healthy shadow work is. And that doesn't mean that the fear isn't useful. Fear, everything is a gift. Fear is there to protect us. But when we feel fear, instead of acting upon it, by taking it apart, by disassembling it, we understand where its source is. And often when we disassemble a fear, we understand one of two things where the fear occurs from. It either comes from something that is legitimate, right? Something that is practical, something that is a concern to be addressed, or it's a blind spot, right? The fear that cannot be identified is typically identifying the fear within ourselves of something that we cannot see. So I keep on seeing that this is a lot of work across the frequencies that it's occurring right now. Not feeling fear, right? Because again, it's like fear is healthy when you disassemble it. Okay, fear is healthy. Fear is healthy when you disassemble it. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energy that works in the space of confronting their fear, embracing their fear, to be able to recognize and regulate between what feels like it is constructive and productive versus what feels like it's just not helpful. And that's why I see even now there may be a lot of closing of cycles that are occurring right now, because if there's situations where someone keeps on letting their fear like interrupt an energetic connection, right? That this is the energy that just says like, that's not something within the self that can be navigated. That's something that that's the energy that's why I keep on hearing like a lot of the energy working in that space of almost articulating and saying to themselves that the desire to change that is present, but it's the recognition that when you see that in another, you know, you just have to accept it, right? This is why sometimes when we carry too much fear, we like build this invisible force field around ourselves, because it's not something that another can work through. It's only something within us that we like. It's our responsibility to work through that to a certain extent, you know. And I feel like there's something really important about that, because I feel like a lot of that conversation is what is energetically shaping the productive conversations right now, especially and particularly in the realm of new partnership. Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Pentacles in combination with our Death card in its transverse. Can I get one card, please? One card. There we go. We've got our 10 of Cups in its reversal. So there's something really important and significant to be recognized and identified as it relates to the lack of ideal. We've talked about this here. And here's the thing again about it. The energy that we're experiencing right now, like that's the thing. It looks harsh. It's a harsh light kind of energy. Like, I'm just going to put it that way. The eclipse cycle has been like the space of looking at something that feels like it's harsh because, and again, why? Let's go through it again. We've got the Venus in retrograde. Everything looks worse than it is, right? We've got the Mercury retrograde. Everything breaks in the process, right? It's very difficult right now. These cycles are very hard because everybody's going through it. And that's why I've been telling you guys throughout this eclipse cycle, don't take anything personally right now, right? Because if you're taking something personally, there may be something happening under the surface that you cannot see. And a lot of this energy, I'm going to tell you, it's isolating and it makes you feel like it's happening just to you. So being able to build in the context of and that's why I like the fact that I'm seeing that the results of this is healthy connection, right? Like it's like working through the anxiety of the self and being patient. What is the outcome? It's feeling that this is the force of healthy connection. It's feeling that space of being able to spread one's own wings. Because when we come into that space where we're feeling anxiety, but we meet that anxiety with a compassion, brave and beautiful things can happen. And that's why I keep on hearing for a lot of the energy right now in separation, forging these connections. This is why these are chariot partnerships, because these are the energies that say to one another as they build into connection, I'm giving you clarity. I'm bringing you my clarity, but I'm also bringing you my bravery. I'm bringing you the ability to navigate through fear, because if we are in a space that we are able to have clarity and we're able to disassemble our fear, anything is possible. And that's why I told you these energies, they're approaching with one another with trepidation, right? There's hesitancy there. There's I keep on seeing there's a lot of there's a lot of fragility, but these are because these are energies in separation who have been wounded from experiences where there wasn't a lack of love. There was too much love, because when we have too much love and we haven't done enough work on ourselves, the love doesn't feel like love. It just feels like fear, right? While for a lot of the energy right now coming into divine union, I'm almost identifying that for a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, like that ability of working through something, this is the energy that it feels like, I keep on hearing, it feels like a shedding. It feels like an emotional or spiritual purge, because this is the energy that's feeling the sigh of relief and being able to articulate something to another, right? Coming out of, I keep on seeing things like not just feeling pretty, but almost saying to another, like, these are the things I carry within me that are hard to talk about. And the ability to, I keep on hearing the ability to be able to divest our hardship to another and be loved in that space. That's the space that feels like we are divinely loved, because it's in that moment that another person says, I don't love you because you're perfect. I love you because you acknowledge your flaws. Again, it feels like a restoration. It feels like the energy that recognizes and identifies the work and comes into that space where anything, again, it's like, building into even some more solid ground. While for masculine and feminine deep within divine union right now, it's interesting because I'm getting the fact that for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, it feels a lot more like absolutely not kind of energy. It's like, why is the energy coming into that space of feeling like absolutely not? Because the context by which we articulate upon our feeling of being energetically supported, the context by which we articulate and define and feel that vibration of stability, it's like the love we give one another is sometimes drawing the energetic line. And drawing the energetic line is about talking about what it takes to create a feeling or a sense of balance. And so I keep on seeing there that for a lot of that energy, being able to do that work, to feel that intensity, to feel that fortitude, like this is the energy that articulates and amplifies the ability of doing so, is not one that it's not about easement, it's about consistency. And that's why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that work that builds into the context of adaptability, because this is the energy that is adaptable even as they're building into constancy. Continuing to get clarification between our death card and its transverse and combination. There's that, you remember, see that constant, and our three of pentacles and its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the Fool card. Here's the thing. And again, If you come to my tarot classes, you'll know that I have different astrological associations that I make to the cards that is somewhat different than those around that often do readings. I always associate Aries with Fool energy. Aries is the Fool card for me. I know that there are those, so because it's the space of building into newness, it's the space of allowing oneself the ability to, we have to talk about this, right? When we're in the place of being a perpetual student, we understand and we identify our clumsiness, right? The ability to learn. I keep on hearing we were getting this very heavy in the last reading we did, stumbling upwards, right? Stumbling upwards is sometimes the only way that we move forward, because when we're stumbling upwards, we don't know what we're going to find. We don't know, we don't know what we're doing, right? But that's also what it feels like. That's when we combine bravery with desire. It's often feeling like we're stumbling upwards because we're doing the best we can. We're trying to maintain higher ground. We're worried about slipping in the process. So a lot of this work coming out of this eclipse cycle, it may be feeling like the articulation point of stumbling upwards, because this is the energy that says, like, pardon our appearance, right? It's like walking into the classroom and like tripping and dropping all your books everywhere and then being like, hi. It's a lot of that type of energy. You kind of feel like a geek in those moments, but it's the endearment. It's the compassion you feel for someone doing something in a way that they haven't before, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Six of Pentacles and its upright in combination with our Tower card and its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? There it is. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Oh, again, here we go in with all the 10 cards. I'm not surprised, because what's interesting about this eclipse cycle is we've got a solar eclipse today, but it's the conclusion of the eclipse cycle, right? Because the eclipse cycle started a few weeks ago with that Virgo full moon, right? We had that Virgo full moon, which was the opening of the eclipse. And it was a messy opening. It was a messy opening. It's like the worst possible time. It's like the curtain draws back and it's like, but here's the thing about it. And we have to understand this. We've got Venus in retrograde. I know you guys get tired of me saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it. Venus in retrograde, Mercury retrograde. You're not a mess. You're a work in progress, right? We always feel clumsy when we're doing something new. And our own ability to articulate between our clumsiness and our intention is often, like I keep on hearing, our authenticity shines through in those moments, because if we're able to lead forth with compassion, we are able, the gift, I keep on seeing, I keep on getting this message, the gift of leading forth with compassion allows one the ability to see clumsiness versus rigidity, right? I'm not sure why that's coming through, but it's coming through really strongly. The ability to bring compassion into circumstances gives someone the gift to be able to tell the difference between, I keep on hearing, like, working in the context of trying to learn how to do something versus that ability of pulling backwards is what I keep on seeing. There's something really important and vital about that, because it feels like, I keep on seeing, it feels like a lot of work in the context of allowing the self to, and I keep on seeing like more of that space of like energetically disassembling, but in ways that helps one understand the disassembling that is coming together, right? Trying to make the pieces fit, if you will. Continuing to get clarification between our Tower card in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. We've got our Hermit card in its reversal. So there's something really beautiful here as well. And I told you, the thing about some of this energy that we're experiencing right now, particularly and especially in, with this Hermit in its reversal, it has to do with navigating some of the feelings of isolation that this eclipse cycle brought forth in us. I kept on telling you guys that one of the difficulty points, and it's okay to admit this, like, listen, I'm a Leo, so I'm allowed to say this. If you're someone who dwells in the space of working in the context of like feeling the need or the desire for what's the word I'm looking for outside reassurance of the self, if you're in the context of like working in the context of feeling like working towards outward approval, this eclipse cycle was not for you. Because I told you there's something really fundamental that was happening in relationality to the Venus in retrograde that creates that sense of distortion, right? It creates that sense of, feeling some of that energetic heaviness, feeling that sense of feeling like not feeling great about the self, or overly worrying about how others see the self, right? So I keep on describing like this period between the eclipses. It almost feels like the perfect storm energy, because like we had the combination of feeling that intensity of how we feel like we're judged by others that was occurring because of the Venus in retrograde cycle. And on top of it, things going wrong in the process, right? So now we've got these two things that are happening, and it's really easy to misinterpret, right? Very easy. Like, it's very easy to feel like you see something happening that feels like it's focused on the self, but that's not what's happening at all, right? So that work, or being able to do that, that's why I kept on telling you guys that leading forward with a sense of compassion, it starts with the compassion of the self. And in that space, when we're compassionate with ourself and our failures or our failings, immediately that is a gift we give. That is a gift that we're able to give to those around us, right? So working in that space, like a lot of the lessons that we've had to go through during the cycle, is remembering perfection is beautiful so long as we remember that perfection is a cardinal direction. So long as we remember that perfection is something that we reach for, right? Something that we reach for, but we never find. It's always ahead of us. Not allowing perfect to stand in the way of done. Not allowing that feeling of being too hard on ourselves to stop us from moving through things. Like, there's a lot of expansion that I'm seeing on the other side of this eclipse cycle. And that's why I was saying it was really important right now, not allowing oneself to get overly triggered. Not allowing oneself to be in a space of projecting that out onto those around the self. Because often in those moments, when we push outwards, sometimes when we project outwards, we fall backwards, because it's in that space that we move off of our intention. So I want you to kind of think about that to a certain extent, because there's something really important about that. And the nice thing that's happening is I'm seeing that some of those breakthroughs, and I feel like and that's why this breakthrough I'm seeing, especially for the energy and separation, it feels a little bit like the breakthrough that is bittersweet, because it's the breakthrough that is bittersweet, because I keep on seeing that the gift that's happening right now across the frequencies is seeing the difference between what feels like there's something that can be fixed versus seeing something that feels like it never changes, right? Like that's, and sometimes in those, and sometimes when you see something and you realize that it hasn't changed, you can see the desire that you had for something to change. And that's why I'd say, if you're feeling that right now, it's okay to honor your feelings, right? But not allowing the feelings to confuse what you see versus what you desire, right? Because I keep on hearing, and this is the beautiful gift that the message of Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries is saying, one can have a lot of feelings and still have direction, right? Neptune contains the whole ocean. It's all about the emotions. And the thing about it is Neptune has waves. Neptune does not dwell because it's not stagnant water. Neptune's messages often tell us, a depth of something does not prevent movement, right? Depth, do not, like, what are the messages of Neptune? Do not confuse depth with direction. That's the Pisces into Aries. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Cups in its reversal in combination with the Fool card. One card to clarify, clarification coming through right now. Yep, there's that oh no, the sentimentality. Like, the thing is, like, here's the thing, man. Like, here's the thing. Like, the thing we have to recognize, it's so difficult, especially right now with this, like, solar eclipse, like, coming out with a bang, is, like, it feels like a nostalgia. It's like, the nostalgia. Like, whoosh, like, just coming. Like a tidal wave of nostalgia, you know? It's like a tidal wave of nostalgia. It's like a lot of that emotionality that occurs to a certain extent. And I feel like there's something about, like, the gift of this is, even as we're expanding, like, even like the reason Neptune is saying to us, recognize, do not confuse depth with direction, is like Neptune's actually saying that because Neptune's like, because I'm moving and there's going to be a lot of nostalgia in it. Like, but here's the thing, here's the thing about nostalgia. And that's why I keep on describing, like, the joke I keep making with Venus, Mercury, and Neptune all jammed up right now at the line between Pisces and Aries is like, what do you call, like Mercury, Venus, and Neptune, like, meet in a bar? What do you got? You got a nostalgia factory. You got a lot of sentimentality. You got them, like, stumbling out of the bar drunk, talking about the good old days. But, like, that ability of doing so, and here's the beauty about nostalgia, and I have to stress this, nostalgia is being created right now. But what's beautiful about nostalgia is the ability and gift to be able to look at something from the past, even if it was traumatizing, and recognize that it doesn't hurt anymore, right? And sometimes in those moments, right, we're not nostalgic. What's beautiful is we're not nostalgic for a past that we wish would not end. We're nostalgic for things we realize are never coming back again, right? So there's something really beautiful, but also bittersweet that's occurring in those moments, because they're saying that there's something about the nostalgia that's forming right now, which is leading way to some Renaissance energy, right? Being able to look at the past and see something that feels like it's energetically beneficial to the present. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Swords in combination with our Hermit card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Sun card in its reversal. It's heavy, right? There's a lot of, I got to tell you, if you're going through these moments right now, with 1 minute you're fine and next minute you feel energetically devastated, right? If you feel like you're switching back and forth right now between feeling like elation and panic, I'm going to say this again, welcome to the vibe right now. Because the thing is, we've got Neptune pretty much straddling between Pisces and Aries, right? So it can often feel like we have a lot of those moments that feel like everything is over, everything's about to begin. So I would not be surprised if you might, across all of the frequencies right now, you may be experiencing something that feels like a little bit akin to lucidity. Because I need to point this out too. What's happening right now is Neptune, or if things are slipping your mind, because here's the thing. Neptune exists in the space of memories. Okay, so Neptune often holds our memories for us. Mercury is about advancing. Mercury holds our ideas. Okay, so Mercury's got the ideas. Neptune's got the memories. Okay, and what's happening right now is they're moving. How do I describe this? Neptune is moving forward, right? And Mercury is pulling backwards. So it feels like they're going in different directions. So if you feel like you're losing things right now, if you feel like you're misplacing things, if you're having a hard time, like, recalling names or things, yes, like that's like that is the vibe right now to a certain extent. There's something about this energy that makes that even more slippery, because it's a lot of that like doubling back kind of energy. Continuing to get clarification between our Hermit card and its reversal in combination with our Seven of Swords. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Five of Pentacles in its upright. Now, let's talk a little bit about this here. So, I keep on seeing, and there's something to be noted here, where there's a lot of work that we're doing right now as it relates to healing abandonment wounds. And what's beautiful about healing an abandonment wound is sometimes it's understanding, like, listen, we don't, like, and this is the truth, like, this is the painful point in carrying trauma. We always carry trauma, right? And we talk about this here. We don't exist in the space of saying, like, go do this, all your abandonment wounds will go away. Go do this, all your trauma will disappear. It's not about removing trauma. Trauma cannot be removed. It forms us. It has to do with finding the energetic strength to carry the things that have wounded us. And so the one thing I keep on seeing here is, and this is what I like, this is why I'm seeing that there's a lot of fundamental moments right now as it relates to energy demanding closure versus energy that is literally in the act of creating closure. Because again, and I just need to stress this with the cards I'm seeing here, closure is not created in opening something back up. Often when someone's not in a place of being healed, they'll say that they want to talk to us for closure, but it's not the reason, because it's like, it's understanding that asking for closure on something doesn't close things. It opens things. And so I keep on seeing that there's something really beautiful that's happening right now for some of the energy and separation, which is the difference between recognizing things that are dwelling versus things that are progressive, right? And what does it feel like when another dwells in something but isn't changing? It feels like energetic quicksand, right? It's the emotions. When we feel emotions without progress, it feels like it confines us. It feels like it holds us down, because it's like someone gives us those emotions and it doesn't give us wings. It just feels like lead in our hands, because we don't know. It doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like an energetic burden. And that's what the emotions are. This is why we talk about the fact that healthy relationship is not just about having emotions. It's the emotions that we give wings by articulating our emotions and then articulating upon what the emotions desire to build. In those moments that we express emotions and we talk in service to what we want to manifest, create together, those are the emotions that feel like they're productive. They're the emotions that create wings for us. They feel like they move us in a way that we can see with clarity where something's going. And I keep on getting that the sense across all of this right now is the gift of the retrograde, is being able, of the retrograde, but also some of this solar eclipse energy, is being able to recognize the difference between energetically dwelling on something versus wanting to give something life, wanting to make something better. And it's funny because I was about to say the word elegy almost came forward, because often when someone just wants to talk about how they feel, it sounds like an elegy because they're mourning something. It doesn't fix anything. It's like playing the organ upon something doesn't create like the joyful noise of what can be gained from a circumstance or situation. And I keep on hearing that this is the energy. This is why I keep on hearing across all of the energy right now, the gift is identifying the lost and found. Because like when you're in a space that you can't fix something, all you do is talk about what's lost. But when you're in a place of being energetically productive, it's not about what's lost. It's what you find. It's finding something. It's like figuring out what you can do to fix a situation, being able to identify it. So I keep on hearing that this is the breakthrough that's happening right now for a lot of the energy and situate like in circumstances across all the frequencies is being able to identify the difference between lost and found. Someone are like coming into that woe is me, that's kind of talking about like why something isn't working, versus energy that's working, trying to achieve and trying to understand and try to adapt to do the best they can in given a circumstance or situation. Final card for today's spread, between our Sun card in its reversal in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I get one card to... Really? Okay. I was going to say one card to clarify, but we've got three cards to clarify. Oh, look, it's a Chariot. Well, it makes sense. We've been talking about the card all day. So I'm very like, look at, this is exactly what we're talking about right now. This is literally, this is what I was saying. So we've got here, our final cards for today are the Seven of Pentacles in combination with the King of Pentacles in its reversal and the Chariot energy in the center. So remember when I said like, I mean, I feel a little silly because it's just a repetition on what I just said. It's literally the energy that says that the gift that's coming through right now with this eclipse is being able to tell the difference between someone like trying, you don't fix things by lamenting as to why they're broken, right? You fix things by articulating upon what can be done, what can be, what you are doing, right? And so that's why I keep on seeing this is very important across all of the frequencies, because this, I told you, as it relates right now, and this is where I got to stress this. This is why I tell you guys, you can't come to me, you can't come to a reading and say, should I go back or forward, right? The guides give you the information that you need to be able to navigate a situation. A good reading does not give you directions. It tells you what the work is. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, the gift that some of this experience is helping you with is understanding the clarity as it relates to what feels like it can move forward in a productive way, which is, again, when we're in a healthy space, we don't fixate upon what's wrong. We don't complain about everything that is the reason why we're not doing something. We just look for energetic solutions. We look for what can be gained in a situation. We build into the space of identifying and recognizing what those plans are. So there's something really important that's happening right now for energy and situation. I see three different modalities happening right now for energy and in separation. Either a circumstance of someone from the past coming back, still lamenting about something, frustrated, angry about why something didn't work, continuing to give all of that criticism as to why something wasn't energetically perfect, continuing to throw the blame in directions other than the self, that is reaffirming the commitment that someone made in order to move forward, because they're literally testifying. Their accusations are testifying to all the reasons why something could never move in a productive way in the first place, versus energy that is potentially seeing productivity, acknowledgement, vulnerability, self-awareness, understanding, looking at something, disassembling something to understand what one needs to grow and change to do something better. Because when we're in a space that we are being productive, there are no problems. There are just solutions waiting to be found. So that's why these are all Chariot lessons, because there's a lot of the work that's happening right now for the energy and separation to understand and identify that perfect is not a destination. Perfect is not something to be found. Perfect is something that you use as an ideal to build in the present context. It's not about finding perfect. It's about making perfect. So that's why these are Chariot messages, because these are messages as it relates to understanding the energy that's in a vibration where they understand what it takes to make perfect. While for energy coming into divine union, this is a lot of the acknowledgement of the past self. This is the past self. This is holding the energy that's literally making perfect, because they're acknowledging something that they couldn't see about the self before. And are they perseverating over it? Are they fretting over it? No, they're articulating upon it, and they're setting a new standard. They're building into that conviction. They're holding themselves aloft. They're holding themselves higher, because this is the energy that says it's a gift to see something that I was doing wrong, because now I have the ability to do it right. While for energy right now, deep within divine union, this is why this feels like a lot of Taurus energy right now, because this is the energy that says when the ground is rocky, you don't stop. If you're trying to if you're trying to work into a place of consistency, you don't you just kind of work through the context of building into what feels like it's energetically stable. And some days that's easy. Some days that's hard, but you don't fixate upon the day to day. You just work towards the consistency that is created. So I keep on seeing that this is a lot of the energy that says sometimes you got to give it a lot of grease. Sometimes you feel like you cruise through it. The important thing isn't about what it takes. It's about identifying and recognizing the consistency by which you are working to build. Final card for today's spread, bottom of the deck. We've got here, there she is. We've got our Justice card. So again, it's interesting because I see a lot of Libra lessons that are coming through right now, right? And there's something really valuable and important about them. There's something, it's interesting. I have to do some investigating to see what's going on with Libra right now. But, this is what like, here's the thing about it. And this is what's beautiful. Perfect is not about being perfect. Perfect is about identifying where the work is. Perfect is about recognizing and identifying what one is trying to do, what needs to be gained, what can be found, like building into that context of stabilization to a certain degree. So everything I keep on seeing here, this is almost amplifying and articulating that sense or that space of, I keep on seeing the ability to, it's like the irony of working towards perfection is recognizing that you are flawed, right? Because often when we're in a space that we feel like we are perfect, we don't have any room to learn anything, right? Like it's always about like avoiding righteousness to a certain extent. It's in that moment that we become perfected when we recognize and identify where the work is, because it is the adaptability by which we see that something can always be perfected, that we allow for that ability to understand that balance that we create in ourselves, it changes. Sometimes we need something a lot, sometimes we need something a little. So I keep on seeing that there's something really vital and important about that work as it relates to identifying or ideating or creating that point in terms of understanding and unifying upon that sense of balance. So if you're feeling that right now, if you're feeling a lot of that heaviness, I want you to remember, I know that we're still coming out of this eclipse cycle, right? It's going to take a little bit of time. Don't be frustrated with yourself. Be patient with yourself. And most importantly, please remember to be kind. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, and I would encourage you to do it there. I also want to give you guys a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Justice card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be focusing our studies on the Hanged Man. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also have access as a paid subscriber to the Tarot Church Library Archive. Now, it's not necessary. It's not it's not necessary to catch up. I will be doing my best to give you an update on everything that we've studied prior to beginning each class, but the material is there for you to receive. if you are invested in receiving it. And now is a great time to join because you've got almost a month to catch up if you'd like to do so. So that's almost 2 classes per week that you'd have at your disposal until we reach the next class. You will also have access to a one-on-one. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we are learning or have currently studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of readings, but you will also have access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Archive. That's over 12 hours worth of material for you to receive that is continually growing. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me. You also have access to a complimentary mentorship class with me, wherein, if you prefer, we will meet personally. And I will assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us on these journeys. I also want to let you guys know that even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm also offering for those clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support. I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings now. You can purchase them per dream or as a dream package. I would ask that if you purchase the dream interpretation reading that you make sure to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.